How can a rational person believe in miracles? Hi, my name is Michael Otts and I'm an author and speaker, and I travel frequently to universities around Europe. And a few years ago I was speaking in a university in Poland. After the talk, a student wanted to talk to me about his questions that he had in regard to the evidence for the Christian faith. And after responding to many of his questions over the course of about an hour, I asked him a question. I said, if I could show you convincing evidence that was to show you that Christianity is true, would you believe? And he looked at me and he said, but you can't. I said, no, that wasn't my question. If I could, in theory, show you that Christianity was true, would you believe? And again he said, but you can't. And I thought that was very revealing. We've been having a discussion about the evidence for the Christianity. But actually what I discovered was, no matter what evidence we presented in that conversation, the real issue was not one of evidence, but of presupposition. His presupposition was that miracles were impossible. And when you start reading the story of the Christian faith, with its claims about a man who walked on water, who could heal the sick and raise the dead, we have immediate objections to such claims, because we know that such things can't happen according to our view of the world. Now, that's perfectly understandable, because most of us living in the West do start in life with this presupposition that miracles can't happen. But maybe we need to question that presupposition. I was chatting to another student once and he said, but come on, things like the resurrection of Jesus, they don't happen every day, do they? I said, well, exactly, they don't happen every day, which is why we're talking about it. I mean, if they did, they wouldn't even be regarded as miracles. Miracles are things that don't happen every day by definition. But others might say something like this, but don't miracles contradict the laws of nature? They would be opposed to science. But again, that's not true, because the laws of nature tell us what normally happen in our world, given no outside interference. But what if God, the lawgiver of those laws of nature, at some points in the world and at some points in history got involved and interfered, as it were? In those situations, what normally happens wouldn't happen. Doesn't mean that we throw out the laws of nature. It just means that the lawgiver has the right to get involved in his world. But you might say, miracles? I've never experienced one. They've not happened to me in my life. And that may well be the case. But the reality is there are things that happen in the world that we may not have experienced. If you live in some parts of the world, you may never experience snow, but it doesn't mean that snow doesn't exist. You were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the Bible never leads us to think that miracles happen with the same frequency and distribution throughout the world at all points in time. In fact, if you look at the whole storyline of the Bible, taking place over a period of more than 1,000 years, there are large periods in that storyline where nothing miraculous outwardly seems to be happening at all. But then there are significant points in that storyline where it seems that the miraculous seems to cluster around certain people and events. And of course, the biggest focus seems to be about this man that we call Jesus Christ, his life, death, and the claim of his resurrection. And of course, maybe God, if he really exists, has a purpose in that. If he did miracles every day, we would just take them as normal occurrences. But if there was a point in history where he did things that don't normally happen, if there was a unique event that had never happened before in the history of our world till today, like, say, the resurrection, would it possibly be a way of God trying to get our attention? And wouldn't it be worth looking into those claims and investigating them for ourselves? And rather than dismissing them without even looking at the evidence based on our presupposition, why not open up and challenge our presuppositions based on the evidence? That's what we do all the time, isn't it, in our studies? And it's what we should do with these big questions of life and God. Well, they are big questions, and we're going to be thinking about this much more this evening. So why not join us for our live discussion, 7:30 tonight. We've got a special guest. There'll be a chance to join in the discussion as well. But also, why not message us your questions about this topic? If you send us a message, ask us your question, we'll not only send you back an answer to your question, but we'll also send you a treat as well. So do get in touch.